Hello, fellow air shooters, and welcome back once again to the channel, where today I have something brand new. It's not often I get something sent ahead of everybody else, so I'm very excited to introduce to you guys the Airmaks Krait Pro L, and yes, this one is in 30 caliber. A little bit of background about Airmaks Arms. They're a company out of the Czech Republic. They've been making some pretty high quality guns for a while, and I think they are right on the cusp of becoming one of the big dog heavy hitters in the industry if they could just tighten up a few things. And one of those things that they've tightened up recently is offering the Krait and Katran in 30 cal. A lot of people have been clamoring for that, never offered before, but now it's here and I have it in my hands. So we're gonna do the typical review on this thing. Now this gun comes to us from www.airgundirect.com. That's a veteran-owned shop, new on the scene here, so check them out. Of course, I'll leave links in the description and comments for you guys to check out their website and follow their Instagram. But cool shop, very easy to navigate website, and they are going to be like the first guys in the US to have the pro models in 30 caliber. So head on over there if you want to snag one of those up before anyone else. This particular gun is straight out of the box, factory settings. And honestly, if you're sending me a gun to review, make sure that it's at least shooting reasonably, because I want to take it out of the box and start shooting it. I don't like to sit there and have to burn a ton of time and ammo tuning. And also, I want customers to see exactly how that gun is going to come in the quality from the factory and from your shop. So I have not touched a single setting on this thing. We're going to get into the standard review. What I'll show you is what comes in the box, as I typically do. We'll then take a real close look up at the features and components on this gun, because whenever I'm buying a new gun, I head to YouTube and I look for the videos that have the most close-ups and really detailed descriptions of everything that's on the gun, so I absolutely understand what I'm buying. So I'm going to try my best to give you guys that. And then of course, we'll get out there and do a little bit of shooting with it. So let's get into it. First up, let's take a look what you get in the box. Obviously, I've already unboxed it and configured the gun, so there won't be a fresh unboxing, but it comes in a case like this. You're going to get a manual. Here's your 1/20 thread protector. As you can see on the gun, I've already got the Scout moderator affixed there. They're going to test shoot it for you. So it looks like we've got, doesn't really tell the yardages, but there's a serial number and a nice little group there. You've got your manual, and you've got a brass fill probe and a couple of O-rings for it, which usually I just discard because I do not like brass fill probes, and that's why I've put a Huma stainless steel fill probe that I just leave on the gun. Now that's another gripe of mine about these guns, but we'll get into that later. So I guess while we're griping, the case that you get the gun in is nice. Okay, it's got clasps on it and it's pretty nice, and it doesn't fit the gun when you mount a scope on it. So come on guys, get a bigger case for your customers so that they can actually put a scope on their gun and then put it in here. And just to give you perspective, like that is, even with a small scope like that, that is definitely not fitting in there. So most people are going to put a much bigger scope, and then it's certainly not going to fit in there. That also came with a pen, this hat that I'm wearing, and a t-shirt. The t-shirt's at home. I didn't want to go full fanboy and like wear all the gear, but I am wearing the hat. Anyway, let's get into looking at the features of this gun, because it is pretty cool. So the Pro model has some differences to the regular Krait. The most obvious of which is going to be this extended rail. You've got M-LOK on the side of it, and it's very reminiscent to like some of the Air Marksman products. It's really nice looking. So very cool. We also on the Pro model here have a FDE Cerakote. So it's on the barrel shroud, the Arca rail, the plenum, and then on the actual receiver back here. So you know what, let's just do a little more organized here. We'll go tip to butt, Garand thumb style, and I'll show you exactly how I have this thing configured. So you do have 1/20 threads up front. I've got the nice Scout moderator that the nice fellows over there handed me at Airmaks, so we're going to be using that in 30 cal today. The bottle on this thing is a 580cc 300 bar bottle. Okay. The barrel in here is a CZ barrel. I believe it's a 17.7 twist, and I'm not sure if it's choked or unchoked. So somebody can bark at me in the comments and tell me I should have done more research, but I'm not sure if it's choked or unchoked on the L model. On the X model, I'm pretty sure it is unchoked for Slugs, and the X model is the longer barrel where you can make mega power. But anyway, going down to the trigger guard / Arca rail, we've got a nice Arca rail. Mine came with a piece of Picatinny attached already to it that you could remove if you want, because there's also, hopefully you guys can see, M-LOK on the bottom there. But you got M-LOK on the sides, and then I have an Arca bipod on here. This one's by Thunder Beast Arms Corporation, and it's their titanium bipod. It's freaking awesome. Moving back. So let's gripe. Fill probe. So this is not permanently on the gun. I do not know why you would drill a hole through the entire gun when you could just drill halfway into the block, thread it, and put a fixed, fill nipple on there. But yes, the gun uses a fill probe. I do not like that. My solution is to just leave this stainless steel Huma one in there. It's much better quality than the factory one. Brass gets chewed up after a while when you use it a ton. So anyway, that's all I'll say about that. The gun does have a match trigger, adjustable on both stages. I've left it exactly how it came from the factory in this case, but it is pretty nice. We've got the newest generation Huma regulator for the Kraits, and it's even lasered on there that you're getting a Huma regulator. These regs have been in development for this gun for a long time, and there's been several iterations, but I find this one to be really low profile and very consistent. Now, you do need a special tool to adjust it, or you can use like needle nose pliers and stick them in there. And this is adjustable under pressure, which is a really good feature. All right, moving down, we've got an AR-15 grip on there. We've got an AR-15 style safety on there. I dig that. Got a 60cc plenum, so pretty big volume in there. Nice for chucking things at high velocities and hard. That's your reg gauge back here. This gun's set right at about 170 from the factory. And then they also on the Pro model include their special stock. So this one is like fully adjustable. You can adjust the wings on the top and bottom in and out. It'll go up and down. And then there's an adjustment right here where you can pull it in and out. I've just got it all the way in right now. They also have an adjustable cheek piece on this. And let's turn this thing around. I'll show you the other side. So there's where you adjust the cheek piece. It can go up and down. We'll cock it here, and I'll show you the magazine. So this is the magazine for the 30 cal. It holds 12. I will say these magazines are very high quality. They're machined aluminum, but they do not fit anything bigger than a 44.8 grain pellet. And what I've got it loaded with right now is 47 grain NSA slugs, but they will not fit hybrids. The hybrids are too long to fit in here, and that also means a lot of the heavier slugs are too long to fit in here. So I hope to see folks like QD Fox maybe make a new magazine design that is a straight through design, so we don't have the wall in the back to restrict space. And Airmaks, if you're listening, this is something to consider, because a lot of people are going to want to shoot hybrids, and I was a little disappointed that I can't shoot hybrids in here. Good thing is the NSA slugs shoot pretty nicely in here, and you guys will see that coming up. Another cool thing that they did, they have kind of like a sling loop here, which you don't see a lot of air guns having. Some might have like a QD link in the back, but to actually have like the old school sling slot there, I think is kind of neat. So moving on, you also get an enlarged charging handle lever there, which is new to this platform and a welcome upgrade, because the one on the previous was pretty small. While I'm on the charging handle here, I should mention you can swap it from left to right. So very easy. There's the slot that's already there for it on the left, should I want to switch it. Mine actually came on the left, and I swapped it to the right. And I don't know if you can see, but that little pin that holds it in, they changed that too. So before it was an Allen key. It was actually kind of easy to strip out, but now they've got these holes in the side of it. So you can just stick an Allen key in that and loosen it. And that means you don't have to take off your scope to stick an Allen key in there. So you could do it on the fly, just simply with any Allen key that will fit in that hole to loosen that. So kind of a nice little feature they added. Here we have the bottle gauge. You can see I've got her almost filled up right to 300 bar. And I think that covers everything. The only thing I didn't cover is for my scope, I have the DNT Optics TNC 225R, which is a multispectral scope, meaning it's optical and thermal. So that's my setup, and we're going to be recording through this too, by the way. So all the video will be recorded through that. But yeah, I think that gives you guys a pretty close-up look at the details of the features and everything that this gun, comes with and has. And we'll give you one more close-up over the whole thing, because I certainly like to see that if I'm buying a $2,000 gun. And let's get into shooting it. All right, now for what you really wanted to see, shooting the gun. I've got a target out there at 25 yards. We'll take some zeroing shots just to make sure we're close enough. Then I think I'll push it out to 50. My laneway is very overgrown, so I might have to get out there and do some bushwhacking for you guys. The work I put in is never stopping for this channel, which is an unmonetized channel, and you don't sit through commercials. So get down there in the description and comments, shop through the Amazon links, help me out, because I will monetize this channel, I swear to God. Anyway, we'll go to 50 yards, and then I think I'm going to try to do 100. I've got the chronograph set up here, and we'll start with some NSA 47.2 grainers, and I've got them programmed in there so we'll be able to see the foot-pounds that they're pushing out. But let's go ahead and get started. We'll shoot the 25 yards, see how they group, and then maybe we'll swap to the 44.8 grain pellets for a few shots and just see how they group. All right, here is the 47.2 grainers, and I just swapped my screen on the FX True Ballistic so that we'll see the power. All right, so that was 895 FPS for 84 foot-pounds, which from a little 520 millimeter barrel is pretty dang good. Okay, so all three of those shots touching at 25 yards, a little off to the left, so I might re-zero this thing a bit. So that was the NSA 47.2s. And you know what? I'm not going to change the weight in there. You guys can do the math on your own. Let's just see just the straight velocity of these. So these are the 44.8 grain pellets. We'll just shoot them at the target next to it, see how they do. Way high. 926 FPS. Okay, so not so accurate with the pellets, more accurate with the slugs, which is good because that's what I want to use. And just for grins, let's see what these 50 grain H&Ns register at. I bet you they'll be at about 850 or so. We'll throw 3 of those in there just for grins. But I think for the rest of the review, I'm going to use those 47.2s because they seem pretty decent. All right, and we will go for this target here. $8.59. $8.58. Oh, those are pretty good too. $8.59 again. Okay, so the H&N 50 grainers definitely work in this gun also, but for the rest of the time, maybe I'll shoot a few of those at 50 and 100, but I really want to use those 47.2s. Those NSA 30 cal 47.2s, they work in like every gun for some reason. So let's step this out to 50, see how we do. All right, so I shot 9 shots and I'm right down to about 240 bar, and I started at about 280. So 9 shots per 40 bar or so, if you want to use that as your calculation. Anyway, I've got this set out at 50. We'll go ahead and shoot some of these. Let's do like 2 5-round groups. I think that's pretty fair. One for the 50 grainers and one for the 47.2. We'll start with the 47.2. Okay, my laser's saying it's 49 yards, but it must be very close because it's right on my marker out there. So let's go ahead, we'll shoot the 47.2s at this left target, wherever it says to shoot. Looks like at 50, they're spreading out a bit. And I always give you guys honest reviews. Like, I'm not out there cherry picking groups and stuff. I don't have time for that. I'm never going to do that. Whatever the gun gets out of the box, that's exactly what I'm going to show you. So looks like we're right at about 893 FPS. Try to steady up here. Okay, so it looks like maybe 1.5 inches or so for those 5 shots out at 50. I'll go ahead and load the 50 grainers. We'll do 5 of those. And I'm not going to change the ballistics in my scope for these, so we'll just hope that it's pretty close like the 47 grainers. So let's shoot this target here. Okay. Okay. Right at about 855, 860. Wow, these are grouping good, man. Okay. So that was looking much better than the NSAs. So I think we're going to go to 100, and maybe we'll still shoot both. But this is exactly what you have to do with new guns. Test some different slugs in them and see what it likes. I'm sitting here doing the work for you guys, and these H&N Slug HP2s in 50 grains fit in the magazine. They're pretty heavy for a 30 cal slug and clearly group well. So we'll go and move that target to 100 and see how this thing can do at 100 yards. That's at 50 yards. We've got the 47 grainers over here. Still definitely hunting accuracy, especially for like coyotes and stuff, but I'm a precision shooter. I'm not too happy or thrilled about that. But the 50 grainers, that's pretty good, man. I might have even pulled that one a little too, but at 50 yards, going 860 or so FPS, the 50 grains look pretty good. And again, this is where you're going to just have to do some experimentation, because every gun, even if you got two of those Krait Pro Ls, they might still like slightly different ammo and slightly different tunes. So just every gun, and especially between manufacturers, is going to like different stuff. So you just got to try out some stuff, try some different tunes, and see what it likes. But right out of the box, if you're getting a Krait Pro L, you might want to try those 50 grainers, man, because that's not too bad. Let's take it out there to 100 and see how she does with both of those slugs. All right, time to shoot this thing at 100 yards. And in true air shooters fashion, you can probably tell by my tent moving a little bit, it is windy, and this happens every time I do reviews. So we'll start with the NSA 47.2s at 100 with my somewhat probably pretty close ballistic information that I've entered into this DNT scope. I've put 4 targets out there just in case we miss. So let's range that thing. Oops. Let's range that thing. All right, it's telling me 98 yards. Good enough. And I see the wind back there, but you know what? Let's just try to hold dead center. I'll wait a second for that wind to die down. Switching too. It's left to right and then right to left. All right, let's just fire. And that's a reminder of why I have horrible tinnitus. 900 FPS. All right, so that took me from 250 bar down to a little over 200. So about 50 bar for 10 shots. Let's see. Okay, so we have 10 shots, high of 900, low of 884, average 892. Standard deviation, 3.89, not bad. So that's looking pretty decent. Let's go ahead and, just to be fair, I'm gonna fill this thing back up, and then we'll start at about 250 bar so that we can test the H&N 50 grainers with the same starting parameters here. So we'll let this bad boy fill up. And then also what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and adjust my speed in the scope, because it was at about 895 for those 47 grainers that we just shot. And we know that these are rated around 860 or 855. So I'll adjust that and then we'll start shooting. All right, let's get it going at 100 yards. And actually, I just made a mistake. I said that these were the 50 grain slugs. And actually, if I turn this package around, I see that these are actually 54 grains and .301. So maybe a .301 slug, and I'm looking to make sure I don't have another one of just the 50 grain. Nope, this is the only one I brought out. So that's what I was shooting, and that's what that better group at 50 yards was. It's .301 54 grains. So I've programmed that all into my scope. Let's start recording here. I also plugged in the new weight into my ballistics calculator, so we should be able to see the power that we're making in terms of foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and range this target again. All right, 98 yards, fair enough, about 100. And we'll shoot these 54 grain slugs down there, 10 of them. And that's actually a pretty heavy weight to be going 855, 860 FPS. So, all right, let's hope these do pretty well here. .858 FPS. And keep in mind, this is a digital scope and I'm on a rickety bench, so this isn't like super precision bench rest shooting. But I'm going to do the best I can with what I've got. Still pretty windy back there too. Waiting for that wind to die down. I see it in the grass back there, pretty strong. You know what, bud? I'm just gonna send her. 858. .860. 859. Was that 10? Yep, okay, so that was 10. Let's look at some stats. 10 shots, standard deviation 1.23. Whoo! That's pretty dang good. Low, 857.9. Average, 859.7. High, 862.6. And it looks like that BC is a bit higher than I thought. So that's cool. And then let's also see. So that's pushing 88 foot-pounds. Dude, I think those might be the slugs for this gun. .301 caliber, 54 grain H&Ns. Let's go up there and take a look at those groups closer up. Okay, let's have a look at this target. But I want you guys to see, like, it's certainly pretty windy back here. It actually feels really nice because I'm sweaty. But anyway, look. So we have the NSA 47.2 grainers, 30 cal over here. Now this is .30, not .301. These were .301. So, but these were the NSA 47 grainers, 30 cal straight up. Looks like we have about a little over a 4-inch for this spread in that group. But if we, let's say we take that average group right there, it's like 1.5 inches. And then if we come over to the H&Ns, now these are the .301 diameter, 54 grainers. So some heavy boys. Furthest group is looking at about a little over 2 inches, maybe 2.25. But if we take this fantastic 5-shot group right there, that is like 3/4 of an inch. Like that's a sub MOA group. And again, it's pretty windy back here, but this is what you got to do, guys. You got to test some different stuff and see what you're going to get the best results at. Now, I would say both of those are pretty respectable hunting accuracy out of a 520 millimeter barrel at 100 yards. But guess what? This is making about 85 foot-pounds on the 47s. This, I'm still getting great velocity, and it's making like 88 foot-pounds, 89 foot-pounds almost. So that's pretty good, and it shows you that maybe that CZ barrel likes the little bit higher diameter .301 rather than the .30. And this is why you're watching these videos, so that you get an idea of what you should put through that thing when you buy it. So I really hope you guys think this is helpful in your selection process of guns, and then also in your ammo selection process when you actually get the gun. So anyway, we'll go back up there, wrap up with some final thoughts. Well, that really wraps up the testing, but I'm kind of known for shooting at my little 4-inch plate at 150 yards. It is hellaciously windy back there, but we're going to try it anyway. I've got 10 rounds of the NSA slugs because I have tons of these. loaded up in here. Let's see how many I can hit out there. And yes, I'm really going to have to play the wind here. So I'll start my camera. And the wind is doing crazy stuff. It's gusting left, changing right. Let's try to hold kind of dead on here. Nope. Nope. There it is. Okay, so wind's coming a little left to right, or right to left. There it is. Another hit. That's 3. Not sure where that one went. Not sure where that one went. Definitely have to play the wind out there for sure. See, it's swirling. It's switching left, right. That's weird, right? So like, I don't know what it's doing. I guess I'll hold a little this way this time. There it is. Ooh, and now it's really picking up. But this is pretty impressive. I think I touched it on that one. And I think this might be an air ball. I think that was 10 already. Yep. Okay, so we were able to land some hits out at 150 yards, and that's pretty impressive for a little 520 millimeter barrel with just some ammo that wasn't even doing the best at 100 yards. So now we'll wrap up with some final thoughts. All right, let's wrap up with a little bit of final thoughts on the Airmaks Krait Pro L in 30 caliber. I mean, you guys just saw the performance. I'm pretty impressed. You know, the gun comes with a slug probe, and that was my first indication that like, hey, maybe I should try slugs in it. Also, I'm not much of a pellet shooter. I like slugs. And you saw the accuracy at 50 yards. You saw the accuracy at 100. And it was interesting halfway through the review that I realized I was actually shooting 54 grain 301 slugs instead of .30 50 grain H&N slugs. So that seems to be kind of the ticket for this gun. Also, those 47 grain NSAs are perfectly acceptable in it as well. You pellet shooters out there, you can screw around with your pellets, but for me, slugs are the way, and this thing can handle them. So overall, I think this is a pretty sweet gun. If I'm being honest, and I always am, I don't like the fill probe in it, and I think that's maybe it. Maybe the case should be bigger so you can fit the gun with a scope in it, because otherwise you have just a throwaway case right off the bat. Other than that, I don't really have any issue with this. Oh, the magazines. The magazine should be enlarged to be able to fit at least hybrid slugs from FX, because those are what a lot of people are going to shoot. So I never got a chance to shoot those in here, and I bet you they would have been really nice in here. So the mags, the fill probe, and the case are really my only gripes. Other than that, I think Airmaks has done a fantastic job putting out a platform that can deliver a ton of power. With those 54 grain slugs, we were hitting like 88, 89 foot-pounds. That is a ton of power from a little 520 millimeter barrel. And I come from kind of the FX world. And so with all the FX guns, a 500 millimeter barrel, that's their compact. This is only 20 millimeters longer. So I would consider this still like a compact gun, and it's able to smack a steel plate quite a bit of the time in hellacious wind, you know, just with that little barrel and not even exceeding 900 feet per second. So I'm pretty impressed. You could pick one of these up over at www.airgundirect.com. Tell him I sent you. He'll give you a pack of Jolly Ranchers in your order if you do that. But nice guy over there. He's a combat veteran. His shop is pretty cool, kind of an up-and-comer. And they are the only people to have these in stock, and you can order them right now. So go check that out. Hopefully you guys thought the video was helpful, and we will definitely catch you on the next one. Peace.